read to you the first chapter of Ecclesiastes and a little from the third. And the book of Ecclesiastes begins, "The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem." So if you've been keeping score of the Hebrew scriptures, we're talking about King Solomon, son of David, famed for his wisdom. And everybody talks about the wisdom of Solomon and talks about the time when the two women claimed the baby, and he says, "I'm going to cut the baby in half," and one says, "No, give it to her, I can't stand to see my child die." So he says, "I know you're the real mother, here's the baby." His wisdom was a lot more subtle than that. So check this out. "Vanity of vanities," says the preacher. "All is vanity. What profit do you have from your labor and all your toils under the sun? One generation passes away and another generation comes, but the earth abides forever. The sun also rises and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it arose. The wind goes toward the south and turns around to the north. The wind whirls about continually and comes again on its circuit. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. All things are full of labor. You cannot express it. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. I have seen the work that God gives us to do. He has made everything beautiful in its time. And also, He hath set the world in our hearts. Yet no one can discover all the work that God makes from the beginning to the end. I know that whatever God does, it endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. I know that there is nothing better for us than to rejoice and joy and to do good as long as we are here. Labor Day, amen. Please be seated and make yourselves at home. Oh, it was about, I think it was 6 years ago that we made a Labor Day trip to the home, it's a historical site, of the painter Thomas Cole. Do you know Thomas Cole?
Yes.
Born in England, came here to live and to paint, and was perhaps the most famous of the Hudson River School of Painters. Those vast landscapes. Well, so we visited his house, and we went in the studio, and they had a couple of his paintings, but it was great. Even more exciting than the studio, which connected us to the man and the age, was a bridge. They got a big bridge there, and we could walk over the Hudson River, all the way across, over and back, way above the river. So we're walking across there and look down, and the rocky west bank has these driftwood snags against the boulders out of the overhanging deep green brush. And that looked like a coal painting. The eastern shore was flat and marshy and dotted with islands, one of which we walked above, looking down into a tangled grove of locusts and vines. And in between, the river runs from Little Marcy Mountain to the city and the sea. And the Hudson River is tidal, Tidal, all the way up to Troy. And so that is to say that the salt water, the ocean, pushes its way up as far as Troy, New York. And it ran that afternoon, the Hudson did, it ran that afternoon against the incoming tide. So there was a riffle almost everywhere on the surface, while the deep current ran true, always leaving, never gone. Time is a river without banks, says Mark Chagall. Another of my favorite painters. But anyway, the cars and the trucks ignored the timeless passing in their hurry to be on time. They rattled the bridge, which sometimes swayed a little under our feet, even though it's such a big bridge. It was exciting. There are signs at either end of that mile-long span. At one end, it says, "It's never too late to live. Lifeline phone ahead." At the other end, it says, "Choose life. Lifeline phone ahead." When you go along a little bit and you come to a box with a special telephone. You can't call home from that telephone, or you can't call the tow truck if your car breaks down on the bridge. It only connects to a suicide prevention hotline. What a species, humans. And of course, in the neighborly spirit of improving everything, I think they should have another phone up at the high point of the arch. But there it was. All the American wilderness, promise and progress. We had seen in Cole's paintings the majesty and the melancholy of the 1840s. In the 1840s, New England was peaking, and the rising population was pushing west. The labor involved. Progress has always been enigmatic, huh? Thomas Cole, the painter, mourned the coming of the railroad along the banks of the river that connected his little village to the city. Just as the, by that time, nearly forgotten Indians mourned the coming of the white settlers with their rifles, their broadaxes, and their avarice. There was the flow of time and the river, the overarching span of life from shore to shore, and the dark urge toward death. All there. Not that I wanted to jump, but I was conscious of the choice and relieved by the sign urging the despondent choose life. As the Bible says, I set before you this day and every day life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life today and every today. Well, time is, time was, and time will be. There's no choice there. But within the eternal motion, we do have a choice. Time, you see, is our only real fortune and our common birthright. When we go off to our job, it is our time and our new chance this day, even more than our minds and bodies that we sell. But you could have done something else. Yeah, we could have. And we can all think of what we devoted our labors to and what we could have done, might have done, should have done. We're glad we didn't do. But all this measured on the clock which follows the sun and so begins again and ends again alike every 24. We're just trying to measure infinity, to divide the indivisible. But it's handy, clocks in that sense of time, so that we can meet here on the same day, for example, at the mutually agreed moment. I believe that this marks the first time that West Covington has been used as a symbol of punctuality. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice in it. Shorter days now. Earlier, longer. Lower nights with brighter stars. Give us night, God. Give us rest. This is the night the Lord has made. Let us rejoice in it. Give us the mighty workings of the age and the drift of the continents. They are moving now. The clocks will all die by the time Africa and Brazil kiss and kiss again and make up. Gaia renewed. Her birth is every billion or so. But meanwhile, God, give us also the tiny, tiny workings underneath, under cover of snow to come, under cover of ground of soul, of self. Because there is nothing new under the sun. And equally, every day brings about a change. My parents married on Labor Day. And I look back to their youth, where I began. It is sentimental. It is seminal. The acorn of joy the 4 stout lives brought forth by her labor and nurture. Thank you, Debs. When was her leisure, or what? Her solitude. That is the book we'll never read. Sons, I think, rarely know. Well, his job brought in the cash. He was devoted to his work and in thrall to alcohol. He read students' papers and sophomores' poems afternoon after evening, and wrote enough poems in the summer to keep sane. He did tell me that over his 25 years or so of teaching, that sophomores' poems about their high school girlfriends didn't change much. And I just imagine him blunting that edge and taking it off with the GMT right at his side every night. Anyway, it all held together as long as it could. It's where we come from, my brothers and I. It's where we come from. It's my pride. It's a lot of joy. And it's mixed with passing sadness. And I think songs get all that better than anything. I just want to quote to you from a couple of my favorites at this moment. Well, there's sport in life. I got a letter from my home. Most of my friends are dead and gone. It makes you worry, makes you wonder about times to come. Or there's just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away, oh Lordy, to that shore where joy will never end. It's a good gospel song. And then there's something like, this time another year I may be gone, in some lonesome graveyard, God knows how long. And I'm going to sneak a little stanza of William Blake in here, just because it's about time. Ah, sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden climb where the traveler's journey is done. And there's the public Labor Day. I guess tomorrow is when it's celebrated. I'm not sure. Monday's the day off. There's the public Labor Day, which we celebrated this year by, quote, a new edict published alongside President Trump's proclamation celebrating Labor Day. This new edict seeks to outlaw collective bargaining on Labor Day. Oof. Not everywhere, just to outlaw collective bargaining at more than half a dozen additional government agencies. And it would ban collective bargaining within the Commerce Department, National Oceanic and Atmospheric, NOAA, Information Service, and the National Weather Service, as well as NASA and the U.S. Agency for Global Media. Fewer rights for fewer workers. Where I come from, wind farms are now a big deal, and the administration has canceled funding for most wind farm projects, including the big Revolution Wind Farm, which is 80% done. It's off the coast of Rhode Island, and it was going to supply all the energy, all the electricity for the state of Rhode Island. We were going to be all set. Texas, take that. but now we're not. The good news is Rhode Island's not big enough to have to redistrict. Okay. There's all that. And still there is labor and birth and work and rest, and we recognize that everyone's time is important. The owner, the worker, the freelancer, the tomato in the garden, right, that's racing against frost. And though we have traded our time for dollars, we stop now this day and lay down our tools, uniforms. Labor Day can be a religious holiday too. There is power. There's power in believing not just the same thing, but believing it together once a week, right here. It's a religious holiday also if we stop to be alone. Alone in the soul, that shore where we meet God. And that current that runs through all things runs through us, and we pause our work to contemplate. I've been quoting songs, but I don't think I could choose much better than one I know you know. Before the hills in order stood, or earth received her frame, from everlasting thou art God, to endless years the same. 1,000 ages in your sight are like an evening gone. Short is the watch that ends the night before the rising sun. Time, like an ever-rolling stream, bears all its sons away. They fly, forgotten as a dream dies at the opening day. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guard while troubles last, and our eternal home. Thank you.
Number 1 in the